Going to be diving into Algorand this evening and looking at some technical analysis here. So I'm looking at the 4-hour time frame, a little bit more zoomed in today. I want to see some short-term playouts that can kind of help towards the direction we may be heading in, and look at both bearish and bullish scenarios here. So for me, straight away on this 4-hour time frame for Algo, you can see you've got this level of resistance right now that Algorand needs to break out of if I think we're to see any sort of upside continuation, because you came down here, you met it as resistance, your first point is resistance, another low, you came back up to it to resistance a few times here, okay, and then you've come up to it right now at this resistance too. So you've hit this point of contact 3 times already on this trend line and met it as resistance. So if Algorand was to start to come up now and hold this trend line as support and start to get back above this 55, then that's good signals moving forward for Algorand, okay? Because what's happening right now is you've come to this low, you've come up, you've formed a higher low, you had this little ascending triangle here, okay? You've broke out, met the technical target, ran into that resistance, you've come back to the 4-hour 20 EMA, and you're looking to attack this resistance once more. And if you do get above that, I would look for the 55 to meet as resistance as well. At that point, if you was to come up and hit your head on that and come back to this trend line for support, this is where you could start to see some sort of build up for Algo, and I think potentially on the card some sort of inverse head and shoulders. So I'm going to show you this scenario right now for Algo, where potentially this is where we are going to form some sort of head and shoulders here. So you've got, at the moment, you could say that this is some sort of left shoulder and this is your head, okay? You're coming up, and if you can come up, if you break this trend line, I do think you're going to start retracing to this local high here. And if you was to start holding this and coming up to that, at that point, this is where you could have that horizontal level of resistance, okay? This is only if you start to break out of this trend line and close in above the 4-hour 55. You sort of drag these EMAs together and get this squeeze, okay? And if the continuation does come up and we do see a bit more of a rally, I would expect us to push towards this high of which we've been rejected from previously, and this is where you could come back and create that right shoulder there, okay? And you've got a left shoulder, you've got a head, and you can have a right shoulder looking to break out to the upside, and this is potentially a low that's in here. But again, we have got this strong level of resistance. We do need to keep our eyes on this this level of resistance here for Algo moving forward. We do need to keep our eyes on that. It's not something that we should shy away from. As I've said, the bullish thing here is you're holding above this 4-hour 20 EMA right now. Holding above that is great, okay? If you can start to squeeze up here and get the push, break out of this resistance, test this 55, then I do think you are retracing to this local high here. So you got a fib on, okay? Let's get a fib on from this low. We're retracing back up to this high, okay? This is where we're trying to get to. Right now you can see, okay, you've come to this low, you've come up, held a higher level of support, you've ran into the 0.618, the golden ratio at near 29 cents, okay? Bang on the golden ratio you've ran into. And you've run into this trend line of resistance, okay, for the 3rd time. So right now you're pulling back, looking to hold support. You're currently holding the 382 at 26 cents. If you can hold that, I think if you can hold here, okay, and start to coil up between these EMAs and start to break out of this resistance, this is where I do think you can start to see the retracement, okay, getting back above these EMAs, dragging these up, and start to receive a retracement up to this 1 fib at 32 cents. At which I do think you potentially may meet resistance again, because you've got previous support turning resistance at 32 cent area, okay? You can see that this is the left shoulder resistance, come down for the head. If you start to come up here, fall back to this for support and form this right shoulder, this is where potentially I'm looking for, okay? So if you do start to break out this trend line and get back above the 29 cent area, do look for a long back up to 32, back up to this high, because you're retracing from this low to this high right now. If you can start to break out, okay, and work your way towards that, at this point I would be going short at 32 cents, coming back to this trend line for support, these EMAs here, the golden ratio at around 27 cents, looking for the breakout, and then you've got this left shoulder, the head, again the right shoulder. So that's the sort of pattern, the bullish scenario that I'm looking at here for Algorand if one was to play out, okay? Because what you've got at the same time, at the moment, you've got this low, you've got this low, you've got a low, and you've got a lower low, a lower high, sorry. So you've got a low, a lower low, and you've got this high and a lower high. So right now we're forming negative market structure, okay? At this point, if we can't hold support here, we're looking to come down and retrace back to this 0 fib. So this is the bearish scenario that I'm looking at right now. Is potentially, as I've said, you've got a high, a low, you've got a lower high, a a lower low, a lower high. Right now, if you start to come down and put in a lower low and get rejected, you've got a lower low, and you're literally forming this market structure until you find support somewhere else. Okay, so where could we be finding support? Well, if we do start to come down and lose this low here, and we do get rejected and start to lose these EMAs and hit our heads on the EMAs and lose this low here. Okay, so this current low that Algo's put in sits at 23 cents. Okay, if Algorand was to start coming down and losing that, our technical target straight away for me, okay, would be from that high retracing to this low, which is our current low of this bear market. Okay, if you was to start losing this one fib at 23 cents and you did something like this, you've come up to the EMAs, you fail to hold support, you meet resistance again. If you keep just if you come down and lose that, then for me you're looking at 22 cents at a minimum. And if that's lost, then you're looking at a 20 cent or 21 cent roughly 1618 target, back down to lower lows. Okay, so it's all about holding support. We have to hold this low. Right now, you've come up impulsively. You're coming down looking for support. If you can tackle through this trend line, you've got your long targets back up to where did we say it was? I think it was 32 to 33 cents. At which point I do think you'd meet resistance. So you have to break this trend line first to get that confirmation. Start to tackle above 29 because that's a local top here as well. If you get above that and hold that, then you're looking for that long opportunity. Okay, but if not, if we do meet resistance here and we fail to come back and we fail to hold 25 to 26 cents, i.e. the golden ratio, because right now what would be nice is to come up here, get rejected by the trend line, come back to a key area of support, hold that support and attack this trend line once more, because then you'd have a low here, you'd come back for a higher low right now, okay, and you'd be forming some sort of ascending support here, looking for a breakout. But it's all about holding support. So if Algorand fails to break out of this trend line, okay, and does meet its resistance again and looks to pull back, my targets for us to hold are 26 to 25 cents, okay, between that low 26 to high to mid 25s. Okay, so the 050 and the 0618, the golden ratio. And again, as I said, at that point, if you do come back and get rejected here and do come back to one of those areas, look for support. You're going to be putting in higher lows, and you've got this high. All you'd have to do is tackle this trend line and put in a higher high, and then you're sort of conforming to bullish market structure here. Okay, and that's where you could potentially form that inverse head and shoulders. So it's all about support and resistance right now. Right now we're meeting resistance. Okay, we've run into this trend line. We're coming back to the 20 EMA, the 4 hour 20. We're looking to hold that as support. If we can hold the 4 hour 20, great. Start to come up, tackle through this trend line of resistance, brilliant. Okay, you're looking to go long back up to that 32 cent area. If we fail to, okay, we fail to break out this resistance, do look for a pullback potentially to these two targets that I've said here. Get your fib on, retracing from this high, you're retracing to this low. Okay, you've come up right now. If you come back to support, these are the areas that I'm looking for support, and you get your juicy bounce, and this is where you start to tackle onto higher highs and that ascending level of support there, forming some sort of large ascending triangle. So yeah, guys, that's a quick update for you today on Algo. I hope you get where I'm coming from. These are your downside targets if you start to lose 23 cents, okay, and start to lose this local low, and this is just basically a continuation pattern of down to lower lows. And equally, the bullish scenario, breakout of resistance, start tackling this trend line, start breaking out at 29 cents, holding that as support. I think you're looking to retest these local highs and potentially form some sort of inverse head and shoulders at some point, as I explained earlier. So yeah, that's a quick update for you today on Algorand, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please do like, comment and subscribe. From Chart Nerd TA, take care, peace out.